Next up, we have Laurence Roll and Matthias Moisborger from Bibframe, and they're going to talk about implementing Bibframe in Koha, giving us an update on this upcoming trend in our library sector. Matthias is a developer, and his first contribution to Koha was back in 2009. And Laurence has been at Bibframe since 2008, managing Koha projects and looking after the development team. So over to you both. Thank you.
Kia ora. So, do you hear me well? Is it okay? So we are going to present you kind of test of implement the Bibframe data into Koha today. So I don't know if I present myself once more. So I'm Laurence. I am manager of the development team at Bibframe. And I am working on Koha, with Koha, for almost 20 years now.
Yeah, thank you, Alicia, for introducing us. So yeah, I've been working at Bibframe and thus on Koha for the past 18 years and counting. Thank you.
So first, a few generalities about Bibframe. So Bibframe is a bibliographic framework initiative that was started in 2011 by the Library of Congress. This was thought as a basic for the future bibliographic description for the web handling data. And the idea was to replace MARC format. Now the Library of Congress has implemented or is implementing Folio and has migrated data to Bibframe, or is still in transition to migrate data, MARC data to Bibframe. And there are some organizations and projects that are working with Bibframe in the world. Among them, the Bibframe Interoperability Group that share best practices between participants when using Bibframe standards in order to ensure interoperability. There is also the Share Family and Share Virtual Discovery Environment, which proposed the link data for libraries. And there is collaboration between the International Bibliographic Agency Casalini Libri and AtCult with the library groups to work on Bibframe. The Bibframe workshop in Europe has the aim to be a forum for sharing knowledge about the practice of Bibframe implementations. So Bibframe is a model based on consists of RDF classes and properties. And this model describes bibliographic entities such as work. So a work is a work where we can find the information relative to the title, the author, the subjects, for example. Another entity is the instance. The instance is a specific edition of a work. So we can find information about the publisher, date of publication, format, etc. And the item is described a copy of the instance with a physical location, barcode, etc. And around them, especially around the work, we have the agent, the events, the subjects that are quite equivalent to the current MARC authority. All these entities are described as RDF classes, and the relations between them are properties. So here, a few examples of the Bibframe properties. Some properties are here to describe the content of a work or an instance. For example, we have the title, title of, main title, subtitle, etc. And other properties are describing the relationships between the other entities. For example, a work will have instance, so we have the has instance, the instance of, that can be used either, that can be used in an instance to refer a work, has expression related to, and we have properties and sub-properties. So, now what about mark to Bibframe? We will need to do some conversion from mark to Bibframe. There are some conversion tools. One of these is a mark to Bibframe tool that was developed based on the specifications written by the Library of Congress for the transition from mark 21 to Bibframe. There are some files, some documentation about the mappings between the mark fields and the Bibframe fields done by the Library of Congress. I've put all the links on references at the end of the presentation. Also, for the transition from mark to Bibframe, the Library of Congress implemented or created what they named hubs that are bibliographic entities that are not part of the official Bibframe model, but they are useful to create the links between the works and between the works and the instance. Those entities have been created automatically by the conversion from the title authority records that have been put in relations to the corresponding title fields or link title fields of the bibliographic records. So currently, those hubs are used to facilitate the relations between the works and the instances, or the relations between works. So here is an example of the Bibframe hub that can be related to some work, and that allows to do the relations between work. Sorry. We have chosen for now not to consider them for the import of Bibframe data to Koha. So, Bibframe and Koha. What did we want for today? We wanted to explore how to manage Bibframe data in Koha. We wanted to share what we have done with you to start the discussion. We have many more questions than answers about this subject. One of the first questions was, how are we going to serialize the work and instances in Koha? How are we going to store them in the database? The RDF, there could be RDF XML or JSON format, for example. And another question that has no answer at this time is, how can we manage the links between the works and the instances? To work with Koha, we also needed a data set, and it was not so easy to find a Bibframe data set, so a batch of records in native Bibframe format. So we did two data sets, one from the conversion from mark 21, records exported from Koha, and the other one directly done manually by exporting record per record from the linked data service of the Library of Congress. So we exported a few works and a few related instances. And it's a very small data set. Mats will present the results obtained with this very small data set.
So, implementation. I did 2 proof of concept developments at the moment. The first one being storing data as a Bibframe format in Koha. So what it does is like it lets you use the Koha interface that you would normally use to input records, and using the XSLT style sheets Laurence mentioned before that were specified by the LOC, it converts to Bibframe on the fly. And so it is stored in Koha as Bibframe. The thing is that this development doesn't, you cannot see much what it does because it's all internal, but if you install it and you want to play with it, you could like create your own records and see how they are rendered as Bibframe. Also, it converts back to Mark 21, so you can edit the record back. I didn't make it fail at the moment, so it kind of proved that the 2 XSLTs that convert from Bibframe to Mark and Mark to Bibframe are bijective. The drawback is that at the moment it's only to Mark 21, so if you wanted to do Unimark or else, we should have to like maybe create or adapt those XSLT files. And the second development would be to allow us to import Bibframe data in Koha. At first, I wanted to use the Koha interface import functionality with all the bell and whistle overlay rules and all that stuff. But like the code was like probably too mark dependent, so I tried to focus more on the purpose of it, and so I created a script that's bulk RDF imports, which does exactly like bulk mark import. So if you don't know, bulk mark imports allows to import mark files into Koha as a batch. So I did the same with RDF files. So at the moment, it does not have any other option that specifying the file, but it could grow in the future. And internally, what it does, it's like it allows the infamous addbiblio function to ingest RDF XML documents. And in Koha, there is a function called transform mark to Koha, which parses the mark data to feed the biblio items table with data. So it does the same with RDF files. They are parsed as XML documents using libxml. There's plenty more to do. It's a start, but it does work.
To do the import and to know or to find how to import the data, we had some specifications to do. And so we decided that a work would be one bibliographic record in Koha sense. The instance would be one bibliographic record as well. The record is saved as RDF XML in biblio metadata table. And we started a mapping for the Koha to Bibframe fields in the same way as Koha to Mark mapping. And for these first proofs of concepts, we did not manage the link, the relation between instance and work. So here is an example of the basic mapping for the between the Koha field and Bibframe fields. So it has been built from the Koha to Mark mapping from Mark 21 to Koha field, and then using the files provided by the Library of Congress for the Mark II Bibframe mapping. So here we have some fields, and we identified in which Koha field the Bibframe fields are going to be imported. With one question, for example, about the personal name. In the Bibframe files we exported from the Library of Congress. For the contribution agent, we have a reference link and not the value. So what are we going to put in the Koha field then?
So then you can see some screen captures of the bulk RDF imports tool. So for a file that contains 2 works and 4 instances, you can see that it has parsed the works and parsed the instances. They are all created as Biblio as for now. And you then can see that they are indeed stored as RDF XML in Koha. And I used the Biblio metadata schema column in the database to identify those records as such. And so this is the part where you can see that the data from the RDF XML file has been extracted by the transform RDF data to Koha function, so it can populate the Biblio and Biblio item tables. And then the results. You can see that Koha is now able to display a minimum record that was imported using this new script, this new tool. Again, plenty of things to do yet, still to do, but this is a start. And what is going to be done in the foreseeable future? Foreseeable future is probably by the end of the week, because I intend to work on that during the Hackfest. The first thing would be to merge those 2 proof of concepts, because currently there are 2 independent developments, and merging them would be good to make it easier to test and install. So we could use both the interface and RDF files in our testing of Bibframe. Probably to do that, we will need at some point a system preference to tell whether if we want to store in Koha the records as mark XML or RDF XML or something else if we implement something else. Something like mark flavor or like data flavor. I'm not sure yet. I'll need your input on that. We could also add what's lacking at the moment, because currently there's no deduping. Like if you add several times the same file, it will create new Biblio records. We should add the bulk marking port as the dash match functions that allows to either discard or update records when they find that it already exists in Koha. So that is yet to be done. Anyway, we have a dedicated time in the Hackfest. I guess it's on Friday afternoon, to talk about Bibframe. So please come to us. Please talk with us, with Laurence and I, about anything like what do we want to do and how we want to do it. I'd really much like to have your inputs, and I'll be working on that till the end of the week. So feel free to come join.
So before going on with Bibframe, I would like to do a small parenthesis about Unimark. So the evolution of Unimark is toward Unimark Unimark Entity Relation. Currently, the National Library of France is implementing Unimark Entity Relation according to the IFLA LLM model. The entities are not exactly the same as Bibframe entities, so we have a work on an expression put together. They are approximately equivalent to a Bibframe work. We have the manifestation, which is quite equivalent to the Bibframe instance, and we have also the item. So it's not the same structure. At the BNF, cataloging should start very soon at the beginning of next year in this format, and the data conversion has already started. So it's in French, but I will explain you this scheme. So for the current mark format, anything. For the current mark format, it's the same thing for Unimark on Mark 21. We have the bibliographic record, and then we have the authorities for the personal name, subjects, etc. In Unimark entity relation, the bibliographic records will be splitted in one work, one expression, one manifestation. The manifestation will be bibliographic record, whereas the work and the expression will be authorities. So you see that it's a different choice. Maybe the choice we did to import the instance or the work as a bibliographic record for Bibframe, maybe it's not a good choice. I don't know. And to manage Unimark entity relation in Koha, so it's Unimark, it's Mark. So we know how to do this. We know how to manage bibliographic records and authorities in Koha with the storage in Mark XML. We know how to do the link between entities via the identifiers between bibliographic record and authorities. Already we know do that. And we have already imported Unimark entity relation dataset in Koha. So work and expression as authorities and manifestation as bibliographic records. So this has been already tested. The import is okay, but there will be some modifications to do in Koha. Probably, as Matthias said, as a new mark flavor or a new system preference to choose the mark flavor. We will have to update the display because we will need to be able to display authority data in the same page as bibliographic data to have the complete bibliographic description. Also, we will probably have to update the search to be able to search in the same time in authorities and in bibliographic records, and probably later think about the cataloging frameworks. So come back to Bibframe. What next? Now, how are we going to work together with the Koha community? First, my opinion is that we have to first specify what we want, and specify means decide the structure of the data inside Koha. How do we want to store, to serialize the data? We have to specify how to manage the links, the relations between the entities. How are we going to store these relations in the database? How are we going to exploit them for the display, for the search maybe? Should we add the authorities in the database, or should we only rely on identifiers to external repositories? What about the items? The items are Bibframe, are in Bibframe format. So are we going to keep the same the same structure of items as today? And then we will need to think about the search on the display, and maybe still later to think about the cataloging. So we presented you a small test about the implementation of Bibframe into Koha, but we have questions today. Do we really need Bibframe in Koha? Because there are some studies or articles that were published recently. The last one, I know is Bibframe without Bibframe. That is an analysis of a document dated of 2013 and done by the Library of Congress about the goals of Bibframe. What should Bibframe report? How should Bibframe be benefit for the users? And the analysis says that all that is described in this document could be done without Bibframe. So would Bibframe really be useful for users and catalogers? Also, mark data are, to a certain extent, already related with the relator codes, for example, with the relationships between records. So, should we go further with the relations? And there is also an article, so Bibframe must die, explaining that Bibframe is based on all concepts. It's more than 12 years old now. And that the future should maybe be on full text indexing, big data, and artificial intelligence. Also, the transition to Bibframe will cost a lot, and what would be the benefit of this? And the AI is more and more used. So how will the users search for a book from now and in the next years? And could we use AI to exploit mark data to propose a new way of searching for the users instead of implementing Bibframe? So we have many questions that we will be happy to discuss with you at the end of the week. Thank you very much.
We probably have more questions than you, actually.